Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, all of our episodes are always up on YouTube, even though like very few plays, but whatever. It doesn't really take me much to do the video, so I just kind of slap an intro and an outro on there and toss it up on YouTube. I don't really think all that much about it. But anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel. All that fun stuff, I guess. But if you're listening to us if you listen to the podcast, which is kind of, I guess, the main format for the show. What's up?
Nothing. Nothing.
Oh,
I almost vaped on camera, and I'm sure
yeah. I don't know. I think YouTube frowns upon that, but
only if we're monetized. They wouldn't do anything if we're not.
That's true. Which I don't see the channel getting monetized, by the way. It'd be nice if it did. By the way, if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review on your podcatcher, whatever you listen to the show on. And hopefully you enjoy what we talk about, because we're just a couple of guys just rambling on about nonsense most of the time.
And we're good at it.
At least we try to stick to a topic.
Right.
I feel like when we did Life in General, it was like there was a lot of times we didn't get to a topic at all during the episode.
Yeah. No, we need to keep these shorter.
Well, the last one was it was a couple episodes ago. It was like pushing an hour. So
oh wow.
Which, the channel originally we were like, we'll keep it like 35 minutes. Like 30 to 35 minutes is good. And then like most of our episodes are about 45, pushing 50, whatever.
So it's essentially like the podcast. The old one.
The old one. We just don't talk about politics because I got tired of talking about that bullshit.
Yeah.
And no one wants to listen to that shit anymore anyway. Everyone's fucking tired of it. You turn on the news, it's just a bunch of garbage. Like, Republicans suck, Democrats suck, everyone sucks. They'll just leave it at that.
I don't suck. My opinions might suck, but I don't suck.
Well, so what else is going on, Ian? Get away from that topic. So did you watch the Grammys at all?
No.
So the Grammys were back like beginning of February, beginning of the month. And to be completely honest, like I watched the Grammys last year because I felt like there was some artists and bands that got nominated that I wanted to see. I wanted to see perform. Like mainly what I watch it for is the performances. I haven't given a shit about the Grammy Awards themselves in a very long time.
Since 1989?
I would say like early 2000s, I think is when I like really stopped paying attention. Like, I don't give a shit who wins album of the year anymore. It used to be a big deal, but I don't think it really is anymore. And it hasn't been for several decades, but I mainly watch it for the performances. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really all that interested in anyone that was performing this year. But there's a lot of controversy around it, though.
Yeah. Well, Sam Smith's performance anyway.
Which I thought it was really funny because Sam Smith and Kim Petras, I think is how you say the last name, performed their song. Mm-hmm. Do you know what song they performed?
No, I just know he was dressed in a devil suit.
Okay. Well, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. Because the name of the song is Unholy. Like, so there's this whole like devil theme. Like they had strippers on stage with them. Mm-hmm. Sam Smith was wearing horns. Have you seen Sam Smith perform before?
No.
Sam Smith is a very interesting character. I'm not a fan of his music at all.
The only thing I've ever seen of him, other than now I've seen pictures of him all over the place because of what happened at the Grammys, was the music video they did for his song. Did he do the song for Spectre?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I saw that video.
Yeah.
And I can see he's had a healthy diet since then. Other than that, I don't know.
Don't fat shame people. Yeah,
I'm not. Nice. Hey, I have a healthy diet the same way. I'm just saying,
Yeah. And so, people were outraged over the satanic theme of the song, but that was like, or I should say of the performance, but that's kind of the whole theme of the song. That was the whole point of it, was it was all a performance. It was all part of that song. Some people were outraged over the performance, and then other people were upset that Sam Smith, who is an openly queer person, would put himself in that situation to open himself up to that kind of controversy and that kind of attacks from the anti-LGBT community. I would say,
So what you're saying
this is the
is
best
that
way to put it.
he managed to piss everybody off.
Kind of,
Oh
yes.
my God.
And I would say, like, and I, on both sides of that, there are very, 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 very small minorities of people.
Right.
Like,
Well, they're
it's
just the vocal ones.
They're just the vocal ones, yes. So yeah, people were outraged because of the performance. Other people were like, Sam Smith, you should have known better than to put yourself in that situation. You know,
that's like saying don't go to a gay pride rally because you might be putting yourself in a position. You know, to me that's
it wasn't. I don't think
argument.
I think it's a shitty argument too, but I think though, like their point is like the Grammys, which is this, you know, to be completely honest, it's an old white people kind of show. You're going to do that performance
I thought it did better. It was better than that now, but I guess not.
The Grammys? No, the fucking Grammys are garbage, man. It's like nobody watches it. It's basically old white people that watch the Grammys. You know,
they
whereas
must be really disappointed if that's the case, because I mean,
look at the people that they pick for and nominate for their awards every year. You know, it's
but I mean, it seems like like I said, I didn't watch it. I generally don't watch it, but it seems like every year. I mean, wasn't Lady Gaga a big winner one year? And I guess Taylor Swift probably won one year. That would probably have made the old white people happy. But
yeah,
you know, Lady Gaga is not hardly, you know, conservative American.
I feel like, but it's not like there's not a whole lot, like as far as like pop music goes, you know, those are the people that are always going to win those awards.
Right.
You know, I was really surprised that Harry Styles, like people were shocked that Harry Styles beat Beyonce for album of the year. I listened to both of them. I'm not a huge fan of either one of them. Right. I would say that Beyonce's album is a better album than Harry Styles' album, but Harry's House is an okay album.
Yeah, but here's the thing: didn't Beyonce win like 10 other fucking Grammys this year?
Yeah, you know, so she's the most decorated Grammy award winner in Grammy history. But the funny thing is, a vast majority of her albums are outside of the top 4 like big albums or big categories. But she's really good at winning like the smaller categories. Which, fuck it, man, if you're winning Grammys, that's good on you. Yeah,
I don't want more than anybody else, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to put anyone down. The person that she beat was like I don't remember who it was. It was like some like classical music composer. He does like movie scores and things like that. That's who she beat. So it's not like she beat like Michael Jackson or something like that for number one. But I think, like I said, if you've got one Grammy, that's a whole lot more than me. So I can't really bitch and complain about it. But I just thought I was really surprised that Harry Styles won that award over Beyonce.
I know there was a lot of hubbub about that too, but to me, it doesn't. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, because the vast majority of the music that wins awards, I don't listen to, and any of the awards that I'm going to be interested in are shown off camera anyway.
Yeah,
they occur before the show, you know.
And that's why, like, really, to be honest, like the last like 5 years, I'm more likely to watch the American Music Awards than the Grammys, because at least for like the rock categories, I feel like the American Music Awards gets or has a better like idea of what the pulse of current music is. You know, the Grammys, when you look at like who was nominated for the rock categories. Now this year I thought they did an okay job, better than they had been the last couple of years. But like who was it? Like Casey Musgraves was nominated for like one of the big rock categories this year. I'm like,
know who that is.
She's not even fucking. She's pop music. It's not rock. She doesn't do rock at all, and it's not even like Olivia Rodrigo kind of pop rock. You know, where at least her music is or based in rock. Casey Musgraves is not a rock artist.
Does she have a guitar in one of her songs, and maybe that's why they?
I don't.
There's an electric guitar.
There's a guitar. I was trying to look and see what who was nominated for the there's pop. Let me go down to rock. Oh, I'm sorry, Brandy Carlisle. That's who I was thinking, not Casey Musgraves. It's Brandy Carlisle, who is, I don't think, any relation to
Belinda.
Belinda Carlisle. But yeah. Yeah, Brandy Carlisle was the person I was saying. Sorry, Casey Musgraves fans out there. I think she does. Casey Musgraves, I think, does do like poppy, rocky kind of stuff, but Brandy Carlisle does not. But yeah, she beat out Bryan Adams. I mean, come on.
Bryan Adams put out an album this year?
I guess so. Apparently, so did Beck. Now, this is best rock performance. The Black Keys, new Black Keys album was pretty good. I'm not a Black Keys fan at all, though.
I haven't listened to the whole thing, but a few songs I've heard off of it are pretty good.
Yeah. Turnstile, which Turnstile is really good. If you haven't listened to Turnstile, definitely check them out. I was really surprised that they even got nominated, but you know, their new album was pretty good. Ozzy was nominated. Patient number 9.
4 nominations actually.
Yeah. And he was nominated for in best rock performance, which Brandy Carlisle won. Patient number 9, the song was nominated, which I think is the best song off of Patient number 9. But
I don't think so, but it's a great song. I'm not going to argue that.
But like I said, that's who's nominated for best rock performance: Brandy Carlisle, Bryan Adams, Beck, the Black Keys, Idols, Ozzy, and Turnstile. That's an interesting selection, I would think, for a rock category for rock music that came out last year.
Especially since there was a lot more rock that was released last year than just that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as best metal performance, Ozzy won for Degradation Rules, which I thought was a really good song with Tony Iommi.
Yep.
Ghost was nominated for Call Me a Little Sunshine, which Imperial was a fantastic album. Megadeth was nominated, which I'm not a Megadeth fan at all, but I know a lot of people love the new Megadeth album that came out last year.
I was not impressed with it, but that's just me.
Muse was nominated, which I think I listened to some of the stuff off the new Muse album. I'm not a Muse fan either. And then Turnstile was nominated for Blackout. Like I said, Turnstile, if you haven't listened to Turnstile, check them out. That was your best metal performance. That was, which Turnstile is not metal. Muse is not metal.
Arguably, Ozzy's not.
Arguably, Ozzy's not metal either.
He's like hard rock for sure.
Hard rock, yeah. So, yeah, this interesting selections there. Best rock song, Brandy Carlisle won for Broken Horses. They beat out Red Hot Chili Peppers, Turnstile, The War on Drugs, which War on Drugs is really fantastic also, and Ozzy again. They beat them. So Ozzy did win for best rock album for Patient number 9.
So he won 3. He won 3 of the 4 Grammys, then, right?
He won best rock album,
best song,
and best metal performance. That was it.
Oh, best song didn't win.
Best rock performance, he got beat out, and then best rock song, he was beat by Brandy Carlisle.
Gotcha. Okay.
So both of those he was beat by Brandy Carlisle for Broken Horses. But yeah, he won for best rock album over the Black Keys, Dropout Boogie. Like I said, that was an okay album. I'm not a Black Keys kind of fan.
I'm probably more of a Black Keys fan than you are. I went and saw him in concert, but I really have kind of just they haven't been in my atmosphere, my stratosphere
in a long time, in
a while. But I did check out a couple songs off the new album, and I liked what I heard. I just never got around to listen to the whole thing.
Elvis Costello was nominated for The Boy Named If, which I haven't listened to it, but I heard some good reviews on it.
That's another one I listened to a few tracks off of. It is really good. At least what I heard was really good.
Idols was nominated for Crawler, which I thought was a pretty good album. Spoon was nominated for Lucifer on the Sofa. Never heard of it. I don't even know who they are. And then Machine Gun Kelly was nominated for Mainstream Sellout. So
Spoon isn't like Spoon from the 90s?
No. That is yeah, you're right. That was a terrible album. I've got that on vinyl. Terrible album.
Oh, I haven't listened. I don't think I've ever listened to Spoon other than maybe they had a couple hits in the 90s.
Yeah, I gotta look. I forgot about them. I did listen to that when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not a fan of Lucifer on the Sofa. I thought it was a bad album, but that's interesting. I completely forgot about them altogether. But Yeah, so some of those selections for the rock stuff I thought was really kind of interesting, but you know, Brandy Carlisle I don't think belongs in that category at all. I think very, very, very loose definition of rock if you're fitting Brandy Carlisle in those
Well,
categories. But that's like I said, that's the issue I have with the Grammys
I
though.
was gonna say, and
Where
that's why I jokingly mentioned 1989.
yeah,
You know, um, if you've never watched this channel before, if you've never watched any of our videos, I'm a huge Jethro Tull fan. But they won Best Heavy Metal Rock Album in 1989 against Metallica. Come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
somebody was not did not have their finger on the pulse of anything for that.
Yeah. And I feel like with like just looking at the alternative category, I feel like the Grammys kind of went off of hype because the Wet Legs debut album from last year got a shitload of hype. I thought at best it was an okay album though. It was I don't know, and they won for best alternative music album and for best alternative music performance. So they won for the song and for the album. They cleared the alternative categories.
Who won
Which
Best Wonky Pop Album?
yeah, best wonky. That's Ian's favorite category now.
It
Wonky
is now,
pop.
yeah. Wonky Pop. I don't even know what it means, but I love it.
Did we ever look up to see what kind of bands fit into the wonky
I
pop
no, I never
category?
did. I never did.
It's probably nothing that probably nothing I've ever heard of before. But anyway, as far as like award shows go, you know, I don't have a problem with the performance, like what Sam Smith did in there. I don't really care. It's funny you got performances like that, but I wonder if these same people were complaining about Madonna rolling around on the MTV Awards,
Oh yeah,
Music Awards
they
stage half naked back in 1985 or whatever that was.
well back then you didn't have the internet. So you had basically your Kenneth Copelands, your Billy Grahams who talked about it on their Sunday evangelical
Well,
shows.
no one listened to them though.
Well, you
I
shouldn't
know.
say that,
I
but
was, yeah,
or the 700 Club. Pat Robertson probably had a big thing about
yeah,
it back then. But now it's on the internet, so
yeah,
everything's exaggerated to the nth degree when it
yeah.
comes to that kind of stuff.
But I just think like
Did Ghost perform?
no,
Oh, okay. Because I was
no.
gonna say if Ghost performed,
If they would
Sam
have
Smith
performed, I would
was
have watched.
well. Sam Smith would have been. Everyone wouldn't even have been talking about Sam Smith. Maybe you
I
know.
think it was. I think a lot. Like had it been really anyone else, if a straight white man gets up there and performs like that, no one gives a shit. No one says anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just an opportunity for someone to attack Sam Smith because he
Right, because
was
he's LGBT.
yeah because he's openly queer. So whatever. I mean, it's fucking stupid.
Right.
It's another reason why I think the Grammys are fucking garbage. And I remember it was funny. I was just reading an article, an interview with Eminem. I think it was before. Uh, it might have been before he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. And they asked him about the Grammys, and he said even in that he said right in that interview that he said he'd never go to the Grammys ever again. He hasn't been to the Grammys in years. He doesn't even watch it, doesn't pay any attention to it because it's irrelevant. And it
It's
has been
like,
for a long time. Because at one point in time, man, if you were the Grammy album of the year, like
that was
you're
big.
it was huge. Your sales would skyrocket. You'd walk into the record store and they'd have a hype sticker on that album in the store. That they were the album of the year or whatever, and it was a big thing. And now it's like, and for the longest time, it's just no one cares.
Right.
It's probably one of the least popular music award shows now. People are going to watch the MTV Music Awards. They're going to watch the American Music Awards over anything that the Grammys are doing.
I kind of feel that way about all the award shows, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
The Oscars are almost as bad. Best picture is always a movie that no one's ever fucking seen before. Or
that's not always true.
It's not. I mean, it's kind of always true. The Artist, nobody saw that movie before it won an Oscar, won Best Picture. No one ever saw it. And I can tell you, I worked at the video store. No one even rented that movie until it won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah.
So
which movie?
The Artist.
Oh yeah.
And that's true of actually all the Oscar Best Pictures. The whole time I worked at the video store,
Yeah.
every single one of them, you couldn't give them away until they won Best Picture. And half of the time when they came back after that, they're like, "Oh, that wasn't good." Like nobody liked
Yeah.
the artist. I actually did like the artist, but it's a silent film.
Yeah. But if
It's a
you look at
silent
like,
film about a silent film. It's
yeah, I think if you look at the last several years, though, yeah, the last several years I don't think have been all that fantastic. Who won it? Last year was um so last year was Coda won,
I don't even know
which
what that is.
I don't remember seeing anything that was up for I don't think I saw any of the stuff that was up against. I never saw any of these movies that I don't even know what it is. But back a couple years before that, you had Green Book. 2018, I think, was a great category. You had Green Book, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, A Star Is Born, Vice. All those were good movies.
Did they win Best Picture? I'm talking about Best Picture because
Yeah,
that's like
Green
the
Book,
big one.
Green Book won for Best Picture.
Okay.
This is just Best Picture I'm talking about. Before that, the year before that was The Shape of Water, which was a weird fucking movie.
I never watched it. I don't
Dark,
want to.
yeah, but it beat Darkest Hour, it beat Dunkirk, it beat Get Out, The Post, it beat all those movies.
Wow, I'm actually surprised Get Out was in that category.
Yeah, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri was also in that too, which was an okay movie.
Yeah. We actually reviewed it on the
I know we did.
old Entertainment Now.
Yeah, I know we did. 2016 was a good year. Moonlight won, even though Moonlight was another kind of weird winner. I wouldn't have picked it over some of the other stuff that was on there. Hacksaw Ridge, Hidden Figures, La La Land, which I was really surprised to beat La La Land. Manchester by the Sea, I thought was a good movie also. The year before that, Spotlight won. Spotlight was an incredible fucking movie.
Is that the one about the
yeah, where they
child abuse?
Yeah, they broke the
priest abuse.
Yeah, the priest abuse in Boston.
Yep.
But that was up against Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, Fury Road, which I don't think I ever saw the whole movie.
Oh, I did. I liked it. I thought it was a great movie. I don't know if it's Best Picture material.
Yeah,
but
it was nominated, and then it also beat The Revenant, which that was an okay movie.
That was not my favorite movie.
No, 2014, the year before that, Birdman won, which Birdman was okay. It was weird though.
There was another one. No one wanted to could even knew that movie existed until it won Best Picture. And then all of a sudden,
I don't know. I mean, I saw it before it was nominated, but because before, like there for like several years, me and I would watch a bunch of movies, but that beat out American Sniper, which I did not like American Sniper, even though
it was a propaganda film.
Yeah, it really was. The Grand Budapest Hotel, which was a good movie. Imitation Game was a good movie. Selma was a good movie. The Theory of Everything was an incredible movie.
Yep.
So it really beat out some really tough competition that year. But the year before that, 12 Years a Slave won, which I think is one of the best movies of the last 25 years.
Definitely would have been. And I think that, that one, it was probably the exception to what I've been talking about. Because that had a lot of hype.
Yeah, but you look at that category that year as 12 Years a Slave, American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, which was a good movie too, Gravity, Her, Nebraska, The Wolf of Wall Street, like a bunch of great fucking movies came out that year. And they're all nominated. The year before that, Argo won, which Argo was another great movie too.
Yeah. But it was also another movie that just no one cared. It was, like I said, it was always on the shelf, and then all of a sudden it won Best Picture, and then it wasn't on the shelf anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's feeding what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the impression I was getting from a lot of those movies, with maybe 12 Years a Slave being the exception.
I was happy to see Argo win that year because I thought, like I said, I thought it was a really good movie. I really thought Silver Linings Playbook was going to win that year. Zero Dark 30 was also nominated, which is a terrible title for a movie because it's not. So I used to work. So the law firm I worked for in Nashville, the attorney I worked for is a like 30-year-long Navy man. He was in the Navy for a long time. And when that movie came out, he even talked about it. He's like, it's dumb because it's not Zero Dark 30, it's O Dark 30. Like they
No.
got the fucking title of the movie wrong, but O Dark 30 is not, I guess it doesn't ring as well as Zero Dark 30 does. Yeah, it's like it's a reference to waking up at the ass crack of fucking dawn. You're getting
wasn't
up
that the movie about
O Dark 30.
Wasn't that the movie about the killing Osama bin Laden?
Yes.
No. What time they got up have to do with anything?
Yeah, but that's what the phrase is. The phrase is "Oh Dark 30," not Zero Dark 30. But
I never saw it, but it smacks of
propaganda. I mean, it is. But Argo also beat out Les Mis. It beat out Lincoln. Lincoln's a fantastic fucking movie. That's why I was
that's probably in my like top 20 of films of all time.
Yeah, that's why I was really like, even though Argo was a really good movie, there's like several movies I was really surprised to see it beat. And then, like you said, The Artist won the year before that. I think The Artist won just because it was kind of a weak year, I think, for movies.
Maybe
because like it was up against
who rented it. Like I would say, 90% of the people who rented it who brought it back said they hated it.
Yeah, it was up against The Descendants, Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close, The Help, which I guess The Help was a good movie.
I love The Help. It's also in my top 20.
Hugo, Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, which I'm surprised Moneyball was nominated, even though Moneyball was a good movie. Sports movies tend to not be. Even though it's not really a sports movie. It's not really a sports movie. It's more of like a Jerry Maguire type of sports movie.
It's financial side of sports.
Yeah. And it's also a lot about like the relationships in the people, between the people, and not really the movie. It's a good movie. It was also up against The Tree of Life and War Horse, which...
Well, Tree of Life was garbage.
Yeah.
What was the one you mentioned before Moneyball?
Midnight in Paris.
Oh, that's another one that I like that movie a lot, but I don't even know how it got on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it had a very limited release in the theaters, and I can tell you it did not rent, even after any hype it might have gotten from Oscars. I know it didn't win, but
yeah,
that movie never rented. I liked it, but it was definitely not an Oscar worthy movie, if you ask me.
I think had they released The Artist the year before or the year after, it doesn't win. It doesn't win unless it's released in 2011. I mean, if you look at 2010, The King's Speech won, which I don't think there was anything that was going to beat The King's Speech that year.
I actually like that movie a lot. I don't know if top 20, but it's high up.
It's a fantastic movie. 127 Hours, the Black Swan, The Fighter, which The Fighter was really good. Inception was fantastic. The Kids Are All Right is a good movie. The Social Network was a really good movie. I was really surprised it was nominated. Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. Those were all really good movies. So it was a tough competition. But like I said, The King's Speech was going to win. I don't think there was no surprise, at least for me, going into that year. But I don't know. I guess to shorten up that last 20-minute conversation we just had, the Oscars are really kind of hit or miss when it comes to the that big category.
Well, and what started that, the award shows just smack of a bunch of people patting themselves on the back for shit.
Exactly.
It doesn't. It's not like a world championship sports thing where like a Super Bowl or a World Series where it's not a foregone conclusion. It's not about how much money something made or how popular it is. The people actually had to you know what I mean? I think I'm trying to make a distinction between something that I know a lot about and something I know very little about.
Yeah.
But,
well, there's always with sports, there's always a clear winner, right?
Right.
With anything arts related, whether it be music, movies, whatever,
subjective.
It's so subjective.
Yeah.
And we just talked about this on the Vinyl Den not too long ago. That anything like that, that's so subjective. There's always going to be a lot of questioning,
right?
Because you can take 10 people, and 10 people are going to pick 10 different things as their favorite.
Yeah.
There's very little consensus.
Right. So, and as far as like watching the award shows, as far as I'm concerned, and I didn't even watch them when it was on, but I will not watch any award shows that show that is not hosted by Ricky Gervais. Have you watched the last one he did? I think it was it might have been the Emmys.
No,
He roasts everybody.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like brutal.
Chris Rock can't do that though. Apparently not.
Well, I mean this was obviously a slightly different time because it was like several years ago.
Oh
But
no, the one he just did this year, he even made a joke about that.
who? Chris Rock?
No, Ricky Gervais.
Oh, I didn't know I thought he's done doing the show.
No, he just did, or maybe it wasn't him. Somebody, I'm pretty sure it was Ricky Gervais, just did a award show earlier this year and made a joke about the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith thing.
Maybe he made it on another show, like an interview or something.
No, it was definitely an award show.
Oh, okay. Or it wasn't him, but equally, you're right. It's like, but it was a different time. But the fact is that he doesn't like go after individuals that way. If you've watched him, he's like, he calls out like Leonardo DiCaprio for dating young women.
Yeah.
Unless Leonardo DiCaprio wants to go up there and punch him for that. He called out the people who, were okay with Harvey Weinstein for decades, It's not funny, but it was funny the way he presented it.
Yeah.
But it was funny more so because of how the audience reacted to not laughing.
Yeah.
And then you could see the looks on their faces like, what the hell is he doing? And I loved it. I loved it because he was calling out legitimate bullshit. He's like, hey, he's your guy. Don't boo me. He's your guy. And, he was absolutely right,
Yeah, maybe it wasn't him. Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
I can see that conversation being had though, because yes, Ricky Gervais went. I mean that theoretically could have been a career-ending monologue. In lesser hands,
yeah,
giving that exact same monologue, that would have ended their career. I'm actually surprised it didn't end his career. It probably ended his career as far as Hollywood goes, but he's got a career in England and he's richer than shit, so he doesn't care. But
no, it doesn't matter.
No, but
I don't know what. That's not what we came to talk about today. Now that we've spent, I don't know, 30 minutes talking about other shit.
Does streaming help or hurt the movie industry?
So it's interesting.
Yes.
It does both.
No, it does both. It's
interesting because I think movie streaming has had largely an opposite effect on its industry that music streaming has had on its industry. I think music streaming has almost decimated. I mean, it has decimated the music industry. Where I don't think,
almost.
I mean, it has. I mean, the streaming is why artists don't make money off music.
Right.
Streaming, to a certain aspect, is why you're paying so much for fucking concert tickets right now.
Right.
Because, musicians are just trying to survive. Where if you're selling out a huge stadium 25 years ago, you could get away with charging, $25 a ticket. Yeah. Now you've got to charge, $125 a ticket or $225 a ticket just to make money off of your tour. Now, granted, I think concerts nowadays are probably bigger and more elaborate than they were 25 years ago. There's probably more behind the scenes people that are involved that have to get a cut of that than what there was, a couple of decades ago. And I'm sure that probably plays a role in it also, but music
it would depend on the artist too.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. That depends on the venue also. There's a couple of concerts I'm going to this year that, I only paid, 30, 35, $40 for.
Well, the Ghost, you paid for Lawn $40. Back in 1997, we paid $12 for Lawn for Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
But that was
and Ghost is a bigger band. And
by far.
if I wanted to sit in the back of the pavilion, it was going to be $65, I think, a seat.
Right.
If I wanted to sit closer towards the front, it was, you know, $80 plus.
Oh, well, for Alice at Pine Knob, I mean, they were middle, closer, like closer to the front than middle, but close to the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and those were like 125.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know, so there are still decent price tickets out there. And then you've got, you know, Blink 182 that's charging. I'm almost afraid to say what I paid for those fucking tickets.
oh,
It was a lot.
yeah.
It was a lot.
But Blink is like essentially like your favorite band or second favorite band.
Yeah, yeah. And I've never been able to see the original lineup or it's not the original lineup, but the most popular version of Blink 182 because they broke up in 2012, 2013,
Well,
something like that.
we were there in '99.
Yeah, yeah.
And we heard them playing,
Well,
but we also heard Spring Hill Jack playing along with them.
Yes, Spring Hill Jack being drunken on a side stage, making fun of Blink playing on the main stage. That's what we watched, which is great because it's, you know, to be honest, you know, Spring Hill Jack it was a great performance. You know, it was a great day, and that was probably I thought one of the better performances we saw at the Warped Tour that year. You know, they're not a band I would ever get to see again. So
right, because they don't exist anymore.
They do. They don't tour
really?
they don't play very many shows, and a couple of their like their trumpet player is now deceased. And I think there's somebody else that died from the band also, but they're still around. They just don't do a whole lot anymore.
I was say they're not putting out new music or anything.
No. And
they're essentially retired.
Yeah, that 99 Warped Tour is probably it's probably the greatest like concert I have been to. It was a great fucking day. And it was like, and what made that day so great is bands like Spring Hill Jack, like Slimer, these bands that you never would ever hear from again. Like playing their ass off and doing just great sets.
It was definitely the side stage, like no name bands that were you know, really killing it.
And we could have stuck around. Like Dr. Dre and Eminem played later in the day. We left before they took the stage, but you know, there were definitely some big artists that played. Maybe actually, you know, but that might have been 2000 that they played. But anyway, we definitely left before like some of the big names hit the stage in '99. But
well,
it was those smaller acts.
You and I both were suffering from sun poisoning.
Yeah, we had spent the entire day before at Cedar Point outside, getting roasted, and then getting yeah. So in 1999. Warped Tour was held in this gigantic parking lot, and you know, there was no shade anywhere, and it was probably a high 90s day. It was just
not a cloud in the sky,
and two pasty white guys getting fucking roasted outside.
Yes.
So
and sadly, we had more hair then too.
Yeah,
and my head still felt like it was set on fire.
I had a lot more hair back then.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was a fantastic show to be at, but I was sicker than shit for like 2 days afterwards.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I was young then.
Yeah.
I was 21 years old. I was a kid.
Yeah. The Warped Tours, I think, kind of went downhill after that. After like
2004,
2005, and then the last Warped Tour I think was 2018. I think was the last year that they did Warped Tour. It was like the end of it, and I thought about going, but tickets were super fucking expensive, and I really don't want to spend the day outside like that again.
And you're an old fart now.
Yeah, I'm not. There's a bunch of those great, like we were young festivals and things like that. They just have great lineups. But man, I'm not a festival person. Like I'm not. I've got zero interest, especially if it's like a multiple day thing. I've got really no interest in going out.
And to be fair, as much as I loved Warped Tour '99, other than a few big bands that we went to go really wanted to see, Warped Tour 2000 wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't.
You know,
Green
we
Day
had
put on a great fucking set that
Green
year,
Day,
though.
Les and Jake did great.
MXPX,
I was gonna say,
MXPX was great.
yeah, you got what's his name's autograph.
They got the whole band's autograph, which I still have. That actually, the hat is sitting on the other side of my
Yeah,
office.
yeah. So I mean, there were highlights to it, but it wasn't anywhere near as good
No,
as the
I
year we
think
were dying.
yeah, I think what made that year '99 so great is like the theme that year was, I think it was punk rock summer camp, I think is what the theme was. So you had
Which
these
yeah,
all these great young hungry punk bands that
right,
were playing on the side stages, and they were just put on just incredible sets. I I vividly remember watching Slimer play,
right,
and it was just fucking awesome.
yeah.
I remember like I had to go over to their booth and buy their CD, and I still have their CD, and it was like on the inside of the CD jacket, it even says that they apologize for sounding so much like Blink-182, and it was just they had that kind of humor, and that kind of
Right.
humor really came through in their set.
Songs, yeah. Well, yeah, because that was the group that was like, "We're not playing again till we see some tits." And the guy lifted up his shirt, and they're like, "All right, we're good."
They're like, good enough, let's go.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think they were the band that was singing about the something being down on the tree farm or something like that
yeah,
too.
I don't
It's like
remember.
in
Yeah,
referencing.
they were goofy. It
Yeah,
was
they
a
were.
good show. It was a good
Yeah,
show.
yeah. And Springfield Jack that day was the same way too, because they
Yep.
were. I think it was they were just so damn drunk.
And
That's why-
dehydrated. Well,
yeah,
because they were like drinking beer, but then they started like pounding water too
yeah.
when they were on
Because it
stage.
was super hot, and I think where their stage was, there wasn't really a lot of shade on their
Right.
stage either.
No.
So it was just a super hot day. At least like where the main stage was, they were all in a shaded area, but
Right. Yeah. But this isn't the Vinyl Den or the music show.
yeah. If you haven't noticed, I talk. I start like down a music rabbit hole. I will definitely go down that rabbit hole.
We'll keep it
Um,
simple. Streaming has not hurt the movie industry as much as music has hurt. The streaming has hurt the music industry.
yeah,
However, I do think that streaming has the potential to seriously hurt cinematic
oh,
or
absolutely,
cinema attendance, and
yeah,
has.
it has,
You have to figure in pandemic issues too, because
yeah.
that's ultimately what could have or could still completely axe the cinema experience.
Yeah, but I
I
think
think it's
like
coming back, but
yeah, I think the pandemic also really kicked streaming services into high gear also
right, yeah, because it was the only way
because
they
everyone
were
was
going to get
home.
this. Yeah, and well, it was the only way they were going to get these movies out. Even if it was at a loss, at least they could get them out to get some revenue back.
Yeah,
Because the loans they had to the overhead on those movies still has to get paid.
the banks still call to get paid.
Yes,
So
exactly. So, um, and granted they would still take a loss, but at least there was some revenue coming in.
yeah,
Um, as a rule, I don't think the studios really want streaming to take over. They want
no.
the cinema to stay vibrant because
And I
that's
think you're
really
starting to
how they're
see
gonna
you've
make their
seen that
money.
with some of the deals that they've made with streaming services.
Right.
About
Well,
how,
the big one is the 40, was it 42 day,
45 days, I think is what it
45 day?
is.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, and I think that's reasonable, because I mean, on a big movie, it was usually about 45 days, 40 to 60 days before DVD release anyway,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
essentially the same thing just for old timers, you know.
No, well, not for old timers, because I remember when in
It
the
was
80s,
it was six months.
in the 80s, yeah, and then you couldn't even buy the fucking movie. That's why movie
Well,
rental places were so big. You
you
could buy them, but
could.
they were
It was $100.
$85.
Yeah,
Yeah, 85 to
$100. Yeah.
100 bucks. I
So
think I remember when Steel Magnolias came out. What was that, like 88 or something like that? My mom loved that movie, and she went and bought it, and it was $85. I remember,
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my god, you pay that much money? We just rent the damn thing."
right. Well, if you had people you knew who had the
Copy
two VCRs or a
yeah,
way to copy them, but they were smart. Those copy guards on those
They were hard to
VHSs,
crack.
they were, I don't think you could crack them. I never.
Oh yeah, because people bootlegged them. People bootleg
Yeah,
those
usually, but
movies.
see what the copy guard would do is it would just dim the picture so that it was difficult to see everything.
Yeah,
So you could still dub it. It just would be a shitty copy,
yeah,
So you know, because I saw many bootlegs that were back in the late '80s,
yeah.
that were like that. So you could still
But
do it. It was just garbage,
yeah, then they got smart and lowered the price of what movies cost. Yeah, because
Right,
paying $100 for a movie, no one's very few people would do that. But
right,
but
absolutely,
that was the case, so people would rent the movies instead.
right. Yeah, I mean the video rental industry was huge because of that, and
Yeah,
like you said, the price came down on them, so people were collecting films. I know I was. I know you were.
yeah,
Um, my I have family members who had bookshelves full of VHS.
yeah.
You know, so
I never had a bunch of I didn't have a big movie collection until I started buying DVDs.
right.
But I didn't start buying DVDs until like 2002, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere like early 2000s.
Yeah, like 2001, I think it was.
Yeah. I remember I got my first DVD player through Finger Hut was the first
Oh
place,
wow.
which was like a online, or it's not online, but it was like a
Yeah, order
magazine
cattle.
mail order catalog. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I think
And
I
I
had the
probably,
DVD
and I
player.
think I probably paid $400 for the fucking thing.
Right. Well, I had my DVD player first before you, but not by much.
Yeah.
Um, and it was me who kind of introduced you to it because Jason Goes to Hell on VHS and DVD, and
Yeah.
we sat that one day and we watched them back to kind of previewed them. And you're like, yeah, okay, I see the difference.
Yeah.
But now, if you put a DVD in and compare it to a Blu-ray, that
Yeah.
DVD looks like a fucking VHS.
Yeah. Put a VHS and compare that to a Blu-ray.
Yeah, you might as well have just broken the screen. Because you can see about as much definition from
Yeah.
cracked screen as as you could with a VHS. But
But
that
I
was the
think,
big thing,
yeah.
it was, I guess, when it's all you have, it's awesome.
I think like the big thing that streaming has really done with movies is open up the opportunity for so many like up and coming movie makers.
Right.
Because before they wouldn't have the opportunity, to make a movie through one of these big, movie companies.
Right.
But through streaming, sure, Netflix or whoever will give them a deal to make a movie. Yeah, let's toss it out there and see what it does.
What I think the film industry should really consider doing, first of all, leave streaming to like series programming.
Yeah,
Because I think that's where it's been thriving anyway. Binge watching shows, they got wise and started releasing everything weekly, which I fucking hate.
yeah.
Because I'm a binger. I don't want to watch one episode.
So am I. I'm to the
can't
point now
stand
where
it.
I'll wait a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, and some things I'm too fucking impatient for, so I
Yeah.
have to watch them.
I'm just so fucking busy that I'll just give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can't. It pisses me off. Netflix is still pretty good. I mean, for the most part, their stuff still kind of drops all at once. Most of it. But everyone else, it's like, I get it. As a business model, it makes sense. As a consumer, it sucks. But
Yeah,
so I mean, there's definitely, it keeps the revenue strong there. So if you focus your energies on making content for streaming services that is, TV series. I don't want to degrade it because a lot of these TV series are as cinematic and sometimes even better than most movies.
absolutely.
But you focus your series and stuff on your streaming services and leave your films to the theater. At least for 45 days. Then you get then the streaming service gets in and everyone's happy.
Yeah,
And you can also use the streaming services for those movies that may or may not be good, but are just not marketable. Because let's face it, there's a lot of movies out there that, like you were saying, the independent films by unknown people with unknown actors in them that could be fantastic. but they're not going to get the theatrical energy. You know, they're not going to get that people rushing out. They're not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. You use your streaming platforms for those lesser known or lower budget films so they can get some revenue from them, get these artists to get some recognition, because it's a lot easier for people to say, oh, I've already got Netflix. I'll just see what's on there. Oh, what's this? And watch it. You know, well, it was a great movie. That's what I think they should do. I stop doing the same day release on streaming for your big tentpole movies, and just leave it for your TV series and your, you know, your B movies or your lesser quality, or not lesser quality, but your lesser lesser strength films.
Yeah.
And leave the big shit to the theater, because the theaters need it. And I think as a society we still need that communal experience for film.
Yeah. I just don't think that, I mean, to be completely honest though, the, you know, big production companies, they don't really give a shit. They're going to do whatever they're going to do whatever's going to make them the most amount of money. And at this point, it's still theatrical releases.
Right. Yeah.
But I think eventually we'll get to the point where that probably won't be the case.
Yeah. Well, I can't see them going to a pay-per-view situation on streaming. They've tried it.
Yeah.
And you know, you charge $50 for, you know, a 24-hour rental, but $50, but you've got 10 of your family members or 10 of your friends sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
You know, that works out to $2 a person, opposed to $10 a person. And
well, if it's $50, you got 10 people there, that's $5.
What did I say?
$5
a person. I mean, so you're not getting the same revenue. Granted, the studio isn't getting all of the money from the theaters, but
they're getting a majority of it
just for the first 2 weeks. After that, they get nothing.
Yeah.
Or it goes down to like a third.
Yeah.
And if it's in the theater for more than 3 months, which big movies are, they're getting like, you know, 5% by the end of it.
Yeah.
Because the theaters have to get something out of it. Unless you're Disney. Disney can stretch that. Disney's one of the few.
Well, they've got the ability, they've got the power to be able to do that.
Yeah. So, but I just can't see there being a lucrative. I don't see them doing billion-dollar movies that way. I don't think
not right now, but like down the road though, I wouldn't rule that out.
Like I said, they'd have to find some way to maximize the revenue.
Yeah.
So that you could hit $1 billion without people spending, you know, renting the movie for $50 and, you know, having a huge crowd of people come and watch it. Yeah. Hell, they could turn themselves, you have a big enough TV and a big enough space, you can almost turn yourself into a movie theater.
Yeah, you can.
The movie costs $50 and you charge everyone $7 for to come watch it. That's less than a movie ticket right there. And you know,
no, it's more. That's more than I pay for a movie.
Well, that's because you go to matinees, Grandpa.
I do. It's not being a grandpa. It's being a cheap ass.
It's being a grandpa. Grandpas go to matinees, and I know because I go to matinees too. I'm not a grandpa, but I feel like one, as far as my age goes, or at least my physicality goes.
You're just an old bastard.
I'm an old bastard, but. Yeah, until they can figure out a way to maximize that, and I can't. I mean, granted, I'm not. It's not my forte. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I don't want to figure it out, but I just don't see how they could do it. I really don't. The only way they could do it is if movies started. They found a way to be able to broadcast movies into like an Oculus.
Yeah.
You know, and get like a super duper cinematic experience out of it. But
that would be kind of cool. I mean,
but you could only watch it on one Oculus one time, and it costs $50.
And it wouldn't need to cost $50. I mean, they could do it for $10 or $15.
That's true, because then they're guaranteeing that only one person is watching.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and if you have multiple Oculuses in the house, you'd have to pay for each individual one to get the movie.
And it also depends on like if you're a movie studio and you have your own streaming service, you're not having to split that revenue up either. Like
Right,
you would,
right.
like you would if you're through a theater.
The only thing you'd have to do is probably there'd have to be some middleman in terms of the like provider of it, like an Amazon or a Sony or a Xbox kind of a thing, where it's there's some kind of a middleman,
There would need to be. I mean, if you're movie studio X, you can just release your own streaming service.
But that's HBO Max is essentially Warner Brothers streaming service.
Yeah.
Disney is their own streaming service.
That's what I'm saying, though, is if you're in that situation, you're not having to split up revenue.
Right.
I'm not saying it's lucrative enough now to do that. I'm just saying potentially down the road.
Being lucrative is if you can guarantee that only one person is able to watch that rental.
Yeah.
So that multiple people have to rent it.
Yeah.
And that would have to be through like some form of an Oculus type device. And right now, is the PlayStation Oculus brand interchangeable with the Xbox one?
Well, Oculus is a meta thing anyway, but
right. But I mean,
and Oculus,
I said Oculus type device. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are.
Well, but Oculus doesn't need anything but the Oculus to run off of.
Right. It doesn't have its own like place to purchase the games from.
No, you do it right through the Oculus.
Oh, okay. Well, then I mean, but I'm sure PlayStation will want in on it, and Xbox will want in on it, and Amazon will want in on it.
They can have their own store,
right?
Unless
Warner Brothers wants to develop their own headset, and then Paramount develops their own headset, and then you have to have 10 headsets just to watch fucking movies.
Who knows? I'm sure people 20 years ago would say, wait a second, you're going to get rid of you're going to stop paying for cable, and then you're going to start paying for 17 other streaming services that's going to cost more than your cable bill. I'm sure people 20 years ago probably saying the same fucking thing about us dumbasses now that are paying all this money for streaming.
I can do you one better. I said that 15 years ago, and I said I'd never do it, and here I am fucking doing it.
Exactly. So who's to say, 20, 30, 40 years from now that all the damn production companies don't have their own, single service headset to view their movies on? All
I can say is I'm kind of glad I won't live that long. Because movies and entertainment, I mean, I'm a fanboy. I'm a nerd.
I will say that one of the big things for me about seeing a movie in a movie theater is the experience. Is that group communal experience of it. I will say that when we got done watching the Ant-Man 3 movie and people started clapping in the theater, I'm not shitting you. I turned to one of my kids and I was like, they know no one's here that actually made the movie, right? Like, what are they clapping for?
Well, when we went and saw it on opening day, that didn't happen.
No.
There were a lot less people. Yeah, I don't understand why people clap in movies.
The people that made the movie aren't here. What are you clapping for?
Who are you applauding?
You're applauding the screen is what you're applauding.
Yeah. Who are you signaling your satisfaction to?
Yeah. Yourself and the inanimate object that's in front of you.
I enjoyed that. Good on me. I enjoyed that.
Good job.
Go me.
Good job. I pat myself on the back here.
Yeah.
Good me. Good job, me. I don't know. That's I guess we ran really long on this one, but we're like an hour long now. But anyway, any questions or comments, you can email us at entnowpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else you get your podcasts from. I don't know, man. That's about it. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the rain.